Call to order, roll call please.
Peterson. Here. Gooding.
Present.
Abbott. Present. Hamilton.
Present.
Bristly.
Here. All right. Number 2, public comment. Marty, anything tonight?
Oh, I just enjoyed a view.
Okay. Number 3, approval of the agenda. Everybody had a chance to take a look at that? Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Patovich,
Second.
second by Peterson. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Nays? Ayes have it. Number 4, approval of the utility board meeting minutes from March 4th, 2025. Any questions, corrections, concerns? Motion to approve?
Motion.
Motion by Patovich,
Second.
second by Gooding. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nays? Ayes have it. All right, moving right along, number 5, financial administrative. Consideration to approve the bills payable. Everybody had a chance to take a look at those? Anything stand out? Other information needed? Motion to approve?
Motion.
Motion by Peterson,
Second.
second by Hamilton.
Second by the Prince.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nays? Ayes have it. Okay, 5B, appointment of board officers. So we're in the odd year in the month of March, so it looks like we have to approve the chair, vice chair, and the secretary position. I guess we can start with the chair position. Is there anybody nominating?
Mike?
Yeah.
I would like to nominate me personally. All those in favor? Aye.
Okay, so I appreciate the vote of confidence, so I guess motion to nominate Mike Presley for chairperson. Okay. So motion by Patovich,
Second.
second by Hamilton, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay, nays, ayes,
How long is our term?
2 years. Yeah, that'll be every odd year, month of March.
Very good.
The way the resolution reads. So, okay, so moving on to the co-chair position. Do we have a motion to nominate, or a nomination for co-chair?
Abby?
Abby.
Smelly. So we're just gonna stick with what we got. Is that what we're doing?
Sounds good.
Okay, great.
All right, so a motion, for nominating Abby for co-chair or vice chair.
Motion?
Motion by Hamilton,
Second.
second by Patovich, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nays? Ayes have it. And finally, position of secretary,
Rachel.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Patovich to nominate Patovich for secretary. And second by Hamilton, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, nays, ayes have it. Okay, well, congratulations, everyone, and we're set for another 2 years. Moving on to 5C, discussion and consideration to approve resolution 2025-08, electric and water internal funds transfer. So, Nevada, I believe we've discussed about this, that was coming up. Is there, refresher information, make sure Gooding has all the information as well. Mark, I don't know if you were involved early on with some of these on the restructuring, so go ahead. Thank you, Nevada.
Yep. So every year with the fiscal year budget, there's transfers that are included in the budget. They get approved and adopted with the budget. And then as we get to the end of that fiscal year, those internal fund transfers get approval from the board, and then the city clerk will make those transfers. It's typically the same 6 for the utility board. We've got the water fund transferring 10,000 to the utility fund 821. That's the partial self-funding insurance fund, so they can pay claims. The city pays down our insurance policy. So each fund contributes a portion to those insurance funds. There's 400,000 going from the water fund to the water project fund. That's for the water tower project this year, Clearwell, a couple of other large identified projects. 13,500 going from the water fund to the general fund. That's a contribution every year from, the enterprise funds all contribute to the general fund to pay for building and grounds activities at City Hall and City Shop. It's basically a lease payment, office supplies, kitchen supplies, all of those things that you don't break down into smaller payments.
Okay.
For the electric fund, the 300,000 going into the 636 fund, that's the electric capital project fund. 30,000 going from the electric fund into the partial self-funding insurance. And then the 90,000 from the electric fund to the city general fund. Same thing, lease payments, building and grounds, upkeep, office supplies, those types of warehouse space.
Anyone have any questions on that, concerns, comments? I hear a motion, to approve.
Motion.
Motion by Patovich,
Second.
second by Peterson, and this one resolution will need a roll call vote, please.
Benny,
Oh, all right, all right.
Peters, I, Patovich,
Aye.
Hampton,
Aye.
Bristly.
Aye. Okay,
Sorry.
and moving on to 5D, department update. You add anything, or Sadie?
Negotiations have officially started, negotiations, sorry, have officially started, last week, so we're just getting ready to go into our third meeting for that. It's scheduled for 2 weeks out. So all that's happened so far is the initial proposals have gone back and forth between the city and the unions. And then the attachment O filing is complete. Sadie took care of that. We contract with Alan Bonderman every year to do that. And just wanted to give a shout out to Sadie because he replied back. He's very descriptive, but he doesn't have a whole lot of emotion in his emails. And he made a point to say that Sadie did a very stellar job and it was a really quick process, easy process for him this year. So he was very complimentary of those efforts.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Cindy, anything else?
I also submitted a couple other annual reports that were due either, March 31st or April 1st. One through the Iowa Utilities Commission. The other one was through the Energy Information Administration. We had a couple tax forms that were due. April is also resetting sewer rates. So that was been done this month, which was a lot larger of a project than I expected. And then we've also been interviewing for the utility billing clerk position, which has gone really well.
You started to get narrowed down, or you still have the position
So we
open?
have another interview scheduled for tomorrow, and then we do have a couple coming back.
Okay,
So yeah.
all right, thank you.
Thank you, Sadie.
Moving on, number 6, electric department, 6A, any outages, Colin?
No hours.
Good deal.
Not a big enough storm or?
You went through a couple of good
We
storms.
got lucky.
Yeah, yeah. Looks like most of the worst went either north or south of us, so, good. 6B, consideration to approve the wage increase for Dalton Eagle from $35.63 an hour to $38.27 an hour as a result of completing Module B of the IAMU apprenticeship program and pursuant to the terms of the CBA. And do we hear a motion to approve?
How's he doing? Is he doing great? I mean, is he, not just because you're an apprentice, but sometimes apprentices, they struggle a little bit. I was just wondering, how's he doing?
He catches on, and if he doesn't know exactly what he's supposed to be doing, he's always good about asking and taking
Good.
directions and stuff. And
Good.
he's keeping up on his bookwork, and he's still getting to be very knowledgeable, so, yep.
Good.
I do have that module here. I think you guys, or not the module, but the MOU for the collective bargaining agreement, I think.
Mhm.
You gave that
You were
over.
at least here, yep.
Yeah.
So Mark, I don't know if you've seen it, but if you want to look at it, I've got that here, that was just signed with the union, for those certification increases for each level.
Okay.
Motion.
Motion by Peterson.
Second.
Second by Patovich. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nays? Ayes have it. Okay, 6C, Colin, any other department updates?
Yeah, couple pole change outs over the last, 2 weeks, one on 702 West Iowa Street, went pretty well. It was a dead end pole slack span actually with a riser on it, so, that one rotted out pretty bad, so, we, tore everything down and set, pretty much was able to set in the same hole and then tore everything back up, no problems, and yeah, no issues there. Another one, guys found, at 108 North 7th Street, that was a streetlight pole overhead, so that's another one that they did. They've also been, doing services, new houses, new foundations, since everything's thawed. Had a few projects going up there, so, other than that, we did, hire a journeyman lineman to fill our position finally. So,
Okay,
yep.
Yeah.
His name's Gabe Stricker. He's worked here before.
Okay.
So, actually a benefit to us because, he's worked with me quite a while, years ago. So,
excellent.
that's
great.
We got to know our system very well, so it'll just be that's just an asset in itself right there. So, helping out with that. And then, that means our other apprentice,
That's what I was.
Devin Gear, can actually start his apprenticeship.
Yeah,
So,
because you got two journeymen now, you can go ahead and start another apprentice.
Yep.
Come along.
yep, so,
Good deal.
And when's his start date?
Monday,
Okay.
actually,
All
so,
right, excellent.
yep.
Well, good.
Let it storm, right?
Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
That's about it for me.
All right, well, thanks, Colin.
Thank you, Colin.
Thanks, Colin.
Okay, moving on, number 7, Water Department, 7A, water main breaks.
No main breaks.
Okay, and 7B, water test results.
March vaccines passed, fluoride test got Boston transmission, so we need to resubmit one today, so.
Okay,
We'll see how that fluoride comes back. It'll probably come back in April, but so I'll report in the next board meeting.
okay. It's just what they just never received it, or
I talked to them to alter like our contact list for them, and then I asked for results of any tests that we have this month, and they said we had not submitted a fluoride. I think the first week of March, we submitted a fluoride,
okay,
so I don't know where it went, but so we just submitted one today.
okay, okay. And then we should have that for the next meeting? Okay. All right. And 7C, discussion and consideration to approve a service agreement with Backflow Solutions Incorporated. Everybody get a chance to look through that in proposal? I guess I had a few questions, in reviewing it. So currently, right now, how many addresses, are on the list for testing?
It's unknown. Sadie and I have been receiving testing from the ones that are willing to submit, because there's gonna be a few that we just don't know about. I think there's a few businesses that are completely unaware that they even have backflow prevention, because there's been some site visits that I've gone to and I've looked at the tags for some of these businesses and they're like 10 years out of date. So part of BSI would be notifying those systems that should have them, that they need to get those tested. So the exact number of places that have these systems is mostly unknown.
Okay, because I think in the proposal it said less than 100.
Yeah, because off the bat, we're just gonna focus on commercial and industrial.
Okay,
And then I guess if there are residential that like to report through BSI, because a lot of the same testing companies are gonna be doing residential too, so they might just end up submitting to BSI, so then we'll mix in some residential too. So,
and do we have a resolution then requiring this testing?
It should be.
yes.
We do have a resolution that requires it now.
I believe
It's required by the EPA.
Yeah.
So there's compliance.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just wanna make sure, because if we're gonna tell somebody they're non-compliant, we wanna make sure that we have a resolution or something to back us up
The
there.
UPC states that too, the Universal Plumbing Code.
Yeah,
We adopted, so, I wanna say we built. I don't know if we built a post board or not, but we have the exact code in the Universal Plumbing Code that
yeah, okay,
states that it has to be tested annually and we were gonna require reporting to the city.
okay, so if we have that in place and there's less than 100, and my feeling on this is I understand they provide a valuable service, but it looks like their referrals, looks like it's more for larger communities and I'm just wondering, for something like this, is this something that we could build an Excel sheet or, dedicate a section of our server where we could maintain, the results? And actually, if we issue the requirement, we can issue the requirement that for compliance. And then if everybody that is required to comply has a folder on the server, that whoever the testing company is, if it's a plumbing contractor, whoever it is, would be, have an agreement with the city of Eldridge that when they test it, then they upload the results through the website. And then it can be put into the folder. Because if this company does it, they're gonna charge, $16.95 each time a contractor uploads the results.
That
So-
goes to the contractor though.
But that contractor is gonna pay for that to be uploaded to BSI, from the way I read this.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be passed on to the consumer. So they're not,
We could
so whatever that cost is, would be added to $16.95, and I'm just wondering, because if the quantity of residents that are gonna require this is less than 100, is it something that we can manage internally?
Companies on the list that we took from the old, I can't remember because it's been a while, but we went through all of the old testing and started gathering addresses that way. And now we're kind of on that second piece of using other resources. And I think we were over 70. I can check and see for sure. It's been a while, but there was, and those
Yeah.
were older ones, but there were a lot of them in there.
I guess in that manner, I would say if we could have them start, like get the ball rolling, because I think any data collected after that, we would have the rights to that data. So if it was like one thing where like we had to do the initial notification, the initial data collection. And then after that, we took over and started doing an Excel spreadsheet and self-reporting. Because the biggest thing right now is,
Well, they're gonna charge us $1,500 to set it up, or $995 for setup, and then a $500 one-time fee. So it'd be $1,500 to set it up. And then the way I read it, then it's,
$1,000 a year.
$1,000 a year after that, plus whoever submits the results for each one, the contractor is gonna pay the $16.95, which they're gonna pass on to the consumer. And I'm just wondering if we don't have that many, I mean, on their resource list or their reference list, I think the smallest community identified was like city of Newton, Iowa. And they're still considerably bigger than us, in my opinion. I would understand for like Cedar Rapids or, Iowa American Water, we got thousands and thousands, to manage. But if we've just got 70 here in town, because if there is non-compliance through BSI, they're just gonna notify us, and then we still have to follow up with the non-compliance, correct?
They send out the
They send out.
notifications.
They would send,
do-
yeah.
They do all of it.
And I think
Yeah.
too, another piece of this is that's taking off, I mean, obviously, we don't have a huge presence like office wise, like they're verifying the credentials of everybody too right now, and if it's something you know, we see and get ordered, obviously hasn't been kept up to date for almost 10 years. There would be some initial value in this and like getting up to date, maybe getting their feet wet and seeing.
Does anybody know what the average price is for a contractor to perform this service right now?
So there's some contractors that are like $60, because there's irrigation companies that can do it too.
Yeah.
They just have to be certified in backflow prevention systems, so $60, I would say anywhere from 60 to 120.
Okay.
Since I think I paid 100 for it
Yeah.
fairly recently.
Yeah.
It's recommended. What does Moline use? How do they track theirs? Cause Moline's got
I would have to ask.
really good like setup on their stuff too.
I'd have to
And
ask.
like, I know that that might be a good resource to see how they kind of do it, if they could share a little info.
Yeah.
Because I know that some of the cities are, you know, doing stuff themselves. And I think that might, they've got a pretty good water program over there.
Yeah, that was my only concern is if we have a small quantity, then why pass on, you know, the additional cost to the residents if we don't have to, I mean, if it is needed, then, I mean,
if you look at this page here,
The annual tracking stuff or.
there's still a lot of work that we have to do to get the information up front.
Yeah,
so even with that, if we've still gotta do the work,
Basically what they, from the way I see this, they build and they clean the backflow database.
yeah, they're gonna build a database and put out the mailers. And then provide us a dashboard to verify that they are compliant.
Which is a spreadsheet with 70 customers could hold that pretty simply.
That's what my thoughts were. You had 70 folders, the 70 addresses. I mean, it's just a thought. I mean, do we want to maybe get some more information on this and investigate what maybe some other communities our size are doing?
I think initially it would be the discovery of how many systems are actually out there,
Yeah,
because we are only aware of potentially 70 of them.
okay.
Yeah, that's a very incomplete, very old
Right,
list.
so that's,
So now we're trying to go the next step. That's just from stuff that we happen to have from files from the last 10, 20 years.
right.
They've never been tracked or enforced at any point. I don't know that it's
probably a huge amount.
required, yeah. I don't know how long it's been a requirement, a while, but
Mhm.
from the time that we were getting these tests, they weren't being tracked or enforced. So
So
we're building from scratch. We have no idea.
do we have a plan on how we're gonna identify a total number?
I would, because if we, getting into the residential side of it, it's like anyone with irrigation or
Yeah.
is gonna have one.
Mhm.
I mean, right off the bat, we could just go to every single commercial industrial address and ask them to go see what their water system's like. So we can just. sit
Permits. Pulling, you know, go by I mean,
through-
is there a way to track it through?
So maybe a better approach would be let's identify the number first
Mhm.
and then maybe see how we wanna move forward. Is that?
Just the commercial and industrial
I would
or
say,
residential also.
we'll start with commercial and residential. If we can compile a list and a plan on the residential. And then we would have a better idea of the numbers, because even their quote is based on less than 100. It said it could change based upon the actual, so.
But because of the UPC, we would include the residential. So it's easier to target commercial industrial because we don't have as much commercial industrial.
Sure,
So it's easier for manpower to go out and identify those systems, but then getting the response from residential to allow us to come see if they have those systems or not. That's gonna be the difficult part of it, because a lot of the new homes getting built on the south side of town. I think an option for those homes getting built is irrigation.
So irrigation is gonna be the tough part, but
Mhm.
pools, you can just go to Google search.
Yeah,
yeah, that
Listen.
permitting, I mean,
yeah.
so,
Permitting on pools would be an easy one. but
sure.
Irrigation, you don't pull a permit, do you? I don't think so.
So,
I know that's a cool question.
and then
Ray.
next question is, do you have the staffing to do this?
That's the biggest hurdle, I think, because
But BSI is not gonna do this. We're still gonna have to provide them the information.
Correct.
So we would provide them the initial information that we have right now, but then they would send out the notifications and I think they would handle the response from the notifications. And then they would add that to the database.
But you're only sending the notifications to the people that we know of.
but BSI has relationships with the testers regionally too, that they may have a way of getting the records, because that's one of the things that we had talked about possibly doing, was reaching out to the companies that do the testing to see if they would give us their records. I don't know
Which
if they will,
I
but
have been doing that with all the ones like Continental Fire is a big one that tests everything in Eldridge. So I just asked them, I was like, any backflow prevention testing you guys do, commercial, residential, or industrial, can you send that to us? So then basically after that, any plumber or sprinkler company or anything like that that I've talked to, I just asked them to send any backflow prevention testing that they do in Eldridge. And that's partially the database that they send to, or the reports that they've been sending to the CDI.
Would it be possibly appropriate that this came from the building department side? Let's say we had a summer intern that worked under Ray, but they took that on the building permit side of it.
Sure, yeah. I think we're on the right track that's my thought is, if we have a plan on how we're gonna identify to compile the list, once we have that list, then we maybe consider, okay, this is something we don't wanna take on in-house, that we can manage through a third party.
Once you add houses, you're gonna be over that 100.
That's what my thought is too.
Easily.
And
Easily
so,
with pool, just with pools alone.
sure. So I think that, to me, that would be the appropriate next step is let's identify or have a plan how we're gonna identify and get an accurate number, and we can start with commercial and industrial and then, also how we're gonna work our way down through residential and then from there, use that information on what our next steps might be.
Just do a little bit more data collection.
Sure, I mean, we're gonna have to do it no matter what.
Yeah.
Whether we use them or not, whether we're gonna do it or they're gonna do it, so.
Yeah, I think Ray's gone for a few more days next week.
Mhm.
So probably in 2 weeks I can get with Ray. And see if we can go through permits and see if there's any.
Thing that you could, I mean, aren't all the permits digitalized? Mm,
Ashley would probably be able to pull permits for you, assuming they got permits. There's a lot.
Yeah, there should be like a keyword and then pull all that and then go from there.
Yeah, we can pull pool permits, it's just
Yeah.
whether or not the people, like, they put their pools into the permits, same with irrigation.
Yeah,
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else on this one? Anybody else have thoughts?
what is okay, so say you're out of compliance. What does that look like for the city in the event that we don't have this done? And, if we have like an audit or something, like what does that look like? That's another question that we need to look at and how,
usually you have to give some sort of plan of a mitigation effort to prevent that from happening again and what you're doing to fix the
Okay.
violation.
so we're working on something.
And I don't know how much it would actually affect us out of being compliant, like us getting out of
Right.
compliance because it's
For
on the
the
homeowner to do.
Right.
that. So like, for us, I think, I wanna say part of that resolution for us was, didn't we tack a fine onto it?
There was a fine, I remember looking at it, because I think you pulled it and sent it to me
Yeah,
when we were talking about it before.
But with the EPA,
Yeah.
we would get out of compliance and it
Right.
is our responsibility
Yeah.
under their regulations that we are the ones that enforce and track it because it's affecting our public.
What if we also did
So-
some kind of like a little flyer or something added on to the bill, hey, if you have a pool or an irrigation system, the potential fine for not having a backflow prevention is this through, if you're not in compliance. We are
Right.
starting to compile data, please let us know your, that you have the
Don't look
thing
at their
and have
bill and just
them.
pay it.
Yeah,
I mean,
Because-
that's the problem.
yeah,
Yeah, it'll be the same thing. We've been trying to get our inventory completed for lead service lines for years. And
it's still,
there's a handful because people are not going to respond
Water
to it.
termination and $1,000 fine.
Yeah, okay. I knew that there was a fine of like, it was decent sized.
Interesting.
So the purpose of the fine was to be able to purchase a system
Mm-hmm,
and force them to put that in.
yeah.
So if they don't have it, what's the cost to them?
Like if there's no backflow prevention on there, it just the cost of a plumber, and I think most typical residential systems are like $200. So like with a plumber, probably $500-$600. But then commercial industrial,
That'd go up,
It gets
Yeah.
bigger.
cause they got bigger ones, yeah.
those systems are thousands of
Mhm.
dollars.
Those should have been, folks. They should have been put on,
Yeah.
installed, it's just whether or not they're testing them.
Yeah,
And that's the thing is I know of 2 of them right now that are very out of compliance.
Okay.
How long has this been supposed to be followed?
a while,
Been for
long
years.
time.
Before my time.
It's a while. Yeah, cause it can back siphon in and put and basically turn potable water into non-potable water in a hurry.
Not discrediting anybody, but I just don't think there's ever been like an effort put into the enforcement of it.
Mhm. But it should be done.
Yep.
And that fine's the same whether you're residential versus commercial or industrial.
I think it was the same. I don't think there was any different verbiage, was there?
It just says
Just
customers are
ask that,
required
Julie.
to comply,
That's-
so it
That's
doesn't
fresh this year.
specify whether it's residential or commercial.
And then what's our goal or timeline for completing this? Do we have a target date?
Like getting like a full,
Mhm.
it's kind of like the lead and copper thing like Nevada brought up, where it's just gonna take time to be able to get people to respond.
They're not gonna voluntarily respond because they have to pay for the install if they don't have it. They have to pay for the testing. And if they are out of compliance, then now there's a fine with it. It's gonna be
Right.
we'll have to find them.
So that's the thing, is like, it might end up being a thing where we just go through GIS, we mark which ones. Cause we can, based off of meter size, cause typically anybody that had irrigation or a pool, we give a 1-inch meter.
Mhm.
So we can just go pull any 1-inch meter, and then we can go ask them if they have backflow prevention. Commercial industrial again is easy, because they'll have them because of their fire protection systems, and their large service lines require them as well. So it can be narrowed down, but it's just a matter of taking the time to get to those addresses, so it's not like a short process to do the identification.
Okay.
And Ryan, you said there was an intern that you able to.
We just brought that idea up as of utilizing summer, college interns,
That's what I was asking.
both.
Weren't there somebody had like a
Plenty.
high school building thing too?
Yeah.
And,
You know, I mean, somebody else that you don't have to hire full time, ain't taken away from Keegan's crew or anybody else. So it'd be a good idea that if you could, maybe if we work that into the equation, I guess, and,
Or
an
even
intern.
Bob Gary to come back, it'd be a great job for him.
I do have that proposal out.
He's tough right now.
Get
He's tough.
some interns over the summer, because it's good for the kids to get their hours, they
Yeah.
come, and it's good for us, because we have a lot of stuff that.
Can it be first, like
Things that they can
service
take care
hours,
of for
like
us.
community, like for high school kids to bank? Anything? Cause they have to have so many service hours, is that a thing? For graduation, don't they?
Not that I remember.
Yeah, I've never heard that.
Yeah,
Get
they,
that.
ours do,
Yeah.
mine do, have to have volunteer service hours. for
Yeah.
You
graduation.
guys have to pay for your kids' streets.
It's true, someone's gotta do it.
Okay, so for now, we're gonna table the BSI consideration and, until we have further information, and the next steps are gonna be putting together a plan on the list. So, okay. 7D, discussion and consideration to approve the new proposal dates for the 16th Avenue Water Tower reconditioning project. So what did?
Yeah, so I met with, Lenny Larson from ISG, Mike Stelzer, who's the owner of the company that's gonna be doing the reconditioning, Scott and Tad from KLM. The So basically it came down to Verizon wasn't gonna be able to put up the temp tower and take down the cell stuff from our tower until May.
Okay.
So that really pushed off the spring project.
Mhm.
So they asked if fall would still work of this year. And Mike Stelzer said that fall is typically the best time for them to do it because weather is more cooperative. It's not as hot, it's not as cold, it's not raining nearly as much. So it's easier for them to get in and get out. So then the discussion was for September 1st being the new potential start date, September 15th being the latest start date. That gave KLM time to talk to Verizon to get the temporary tower up by August. So I think it's like August 31st or something like that was when the deadline to have that temporary tower up and fully running.
And they agreed to that timeline?
So I've not talked to Tad since that meeting.
Okay.
So I would imagine Lenny's gonna follow up and then he'll relay to us if Verizon agreed to the August deadline.
And that would push our completion date to when?
Approximately.
Approximately the last
October.
week would be November 14th.
12-week project, and they think they can do it 10.
They think they could do it in 10. So now, yeah, we're looking from September 1st to November 14th. They said that they have done projects up until Thanksgiving, if weather was cooperative and it hadn't turned cold yet.
Yeah, how cold
That's
is too
what I was
cold?
just gonna say.
So I
For
pretty
that
much
paint.
feel like anything under 50 degrees is not
We pushed
recommended for
Really
them.
tight.
So I think they said 44 was the magic number.
Okay.
So
And we've had snow first in November before, so it's like whatever year we get,
It's gonna be 82 degrees this Friday, so maybe it's gonna be a hot year.
Yep.
I don't know how many times we were trick or treating and it was freezing cold.
And it's warm the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's the other question to
It's
ask.
been warm well into December the last few years too.
If they push it right at that mark, what happens if they get it blasted and half prepped and the paint's not complete and the temperatures drop?
Yeah, and will that impact our warranty on the paint?
yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be.
There's some questions yet to ask, I think.
They could bump it up a month, would be great.
And then
We're
you're
right
back
in
in
the
the
sweet
summer.
spot, I think, of the consumption and meeting, being at our peak.
Cause we still hit some 1,000,000-gallon days in September
Yeah.
and we need to be full operation at that point. So that's why my personal opinion is that we're probably gonna move towards that September 15th start date. Just so we can get away from those 900,000 1,000,000-gallon days. And then we can kind of get into our better operations for us to turn that tower down.
Well, didn't they say that we could actually, ours is good enough to make it into next year if we had to?
There's nothing wrong with the tower. I mean, cosmetically,
Right, it just
pretty
looks
bad,
bad.
but structurally, there's nothing wrong with that tower. So if it was something that we determined that would be better off if we pushed it into the spring, they said that that's still fine and the price was still the same. If we
So if
put it
Verizon
six.
doesn't pull through, then we can just,
Right, so Verizon was the reason for this.
mhm.
So
Are you dealing with the same person at Verizon that we dealt with on the,
Pat Oaks from KLM is doing all of the communications with Verizon right now.
okay, because I
Not the same person as.
was gonna say, if we could ask for some consideration, maybe to accelerate on their end, because we did vote to decrease their lease rate and, so.
They do have their.
I get it, but I mean,
Push them, give us some information.
Yeah,
Sadly, they might not.
yeah,
They probably have an idea that we renegotiated the lease.
yeah, I'm sure, yeah, that goes to a different department, but, still, it's, if there's any way that we can ask them to accelerate, that might, I don't know if it would work or not. For the moment now, I think we're gonna gather more information on this, I guess.
yeah, because Lenny had better notes than I did on the conversation, but I think Mike Stelzer said that there's a lot of prep work they could do while the tower's still in service.
So they could potentially start September first,
Right. And,
prepping, doing stuff, and then you shut it down.
and then we can shut it down.
Okay.
So I can get clarification on
Yeah.
that, but I'm pretty sure they said that there were some things that they could do as far as prep.
Okay,
Cause that
We're
would
still-
maybe shorten it up a little bit, you know, make
Yeah.
it a little quicker.
yeah, okay. So I guess we'll get some more information from you next meeting and further planning on that. Okay. 7E, discussion and consideration to include the school logo in design for the 16th Avenue Water Tower reconditioning project. So we put that as a cost adder, and it was gonna be, what, $5,000 to add the school logo to the tower. So again, I guess we're at this point now where we're gonna make a decision. We're gonna add the school logo, or not, and leave it open for discussion here.
I talked to quite a few people. There's a lot of people who don't think we need it. I understand that part of it is school spirit and everything else. But, you know, the people that don't want it, they wanna be known as Eldridge, not just Lancer Country or whatever. But if you look at the old water tower, there's a place right on it, right next to the ball diamonds, right next to the soccer field, where you could put it on the old water tower if they wanted a logo. And it's right by the school and it's right there. So I'm thinking, you know, maybe if people are insistent about having a logo on a water tower where it's up there where everybody can see it. You know, but, you know, there's a lot of people in the community didn't think it was very, and I've asked quite a few of them, probably good 25, 30 people. And, that's just not something that most people thought it was necessary, so.
And I tend to go along with Jeff's opinion on that too, and I've had people approach me about it. Again, and I think we talked a little quickly about it at the last meeting, like, this is Eldridge, this isn't North Scott everything. They don't wanna see it, you know, some other questions, what if something happens? Or like for me, I guess, too, whatever, 3 years down the line, we have to replace this. Administration doesn't want the North Scott logo on there. Like, are they paying for, I mean, is that all inclusive, sandblasting that off? Getting that off the towers, or are we picking up that cost?
For fading enough, so you, that kind of thing, yeah. My thing is that it is a chunk of change that, you know, looking at what we need to do for backflow prevention, your guys' wish list and stuff, if we are footing the bill, which also means the consumers are basically ultimately footing the bill, I'd like to see that $5,000 go towards something else.
Well, I guess, you know, I spoke to a lot of people as well, and I'm a firm believer that, you know, part of what makes Eldridge great is our school system here. And that is a large attraction to what brings people to our community. I didn't go through North Scott school system, but my wife did, and a lot of her friends, and their friends are having kids now, they're moving back, and to me, is it necessary? No. But I mean, we ended up saving quite a bit of money, what we had budgeted originally for this water tower reconditioning. And I understand $5,000 is a lot of money, but I think it would complement our decision that we made to paint the bottom bowl gray to, you know, have the logo in red. So I think it would be a nice touch for the community.
We have partnered with the school and many other things, like we partner with the school for the Y. So
We're
we
joint
use
owners
the
of the
North Scout Y. So
We both pay for the SRO app.
So it'd be just another partnership, and I'm just talking to Joe Studding, they have been willing, they said if it was a financial thing, that they would be willing to pitch in for the logo. So if it's something where we worked out another partnership with the school and they were willing to pay for the logo.
Well, and that's where two discussions, I mean, just like within the community and the taxpayers having an issue with that too, like, there's definitely better things that can be used for that money within the school district too. So it's kind of, and I think you have some people too that have said that.
Yeah.
I mean, on both ends of it, it's a taxpayer's money, you know, is it a need or is it a want? You know, I get like giving props to North Scott, obviously. I think most of us here all went to North Scott. I see nothing wrong with it, but like, again, North Scott does not define Eldridge. And everything in this town, in my opinion, does not have to be North Scott this, North Scott that. And people, I mean, probably for as many people that do like it, just as many do not like it.
I would say the community for like the flags for when teams are going to state or teams have a game day and they line LeClaire flags. I think the community loves that. So it'd be something similar to that, where it's just again to touch on Michael's perspective. It is that like school pride, town pride, because we are the hub of 5 or 6 other communities feeding in.
Mhm.
And the biggest thing are the schools, because every one of those kids from the elementaries goes to the junior high, and then they ultimately end up going to high school. So the largest part of our community is affected by the schools.
And I don't disagree, but it's the Eldridge residents paying for it. Not the Donahue kids or the Princeton kids or the McCausland kids. So it's the Eldridge people that are paying for it. That's my point. And it's like, we're just supposed to be a voice for the people that live in our community. And the ones that I spoke to, the majority of them was not in favor of it. So, I myself think school pride's wonderful. I had 5 kids go through North Scott. I went to North Scott. So it's not like I don't have school pride, and then I do have pride in the community. But is it a want or a need? And I guess, I don't know, that's just kind of where we're at.
I thought the school agreed to pay for it all.
That's where I mean, I'm torn on it. I understand both sides of it, but in my opinion, City of Eldridge, the utility company, we shouldn't be paying for a logo at all.
100%.
Mhm.
So I mean, in my opinion, if they want it, and I'm still torn on it, they need to pay for it.
I do like the idea though, of putting it also closer to the school.
Well, that old
you know,
water tower,
Which is kind of, where
Yeah, that's.
it is,
that old
nice.
water tower sits
Yeah.
right there. And it sits right by the ball diamonds, right by the soccer field, right by the school. If you want school pride, put it up there where when you pull in to the football field or the softball field or whatever, it's right there. There's your school pride. So it can be done and pretty much appease both groups of people.
How far out is that tower from being reconditioned?
The old one? I don't even know if we want to get into that one yet.
So paint over top of it.
But just to paint it. I'd have to look at, because that one has been painted in the 2000s, I think. So
how long does that paint last?
I think it's like a 20 to 25 year.
Okay.
So could they clean that up and paint over top of it, put a logo there?
I think you have additional, it's not gonna
Set
cost
of costs
$5,000,
and
yeah, your
stuff, yeah.
mobilization just for
Yeah.
something like that, plus the cleanup, you won't have that $5,000 price tag, that
No.
was while they were already here. So,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the next steps, if we're not looking to, make a decision on this tonight, is find out what the school board is willing, if they're willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
Then we can use that information and make a decision. Does that sound fair enough?
Yeah, so look, we've got time now, since it's not gonna.
Sure, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if it's not gonna go till September, we've got plenty of time, and it might not go till next year.
Right.
It'll just-
Okay, okay, sounds like good next steps then. And you'll be able to reach out to the school board on that?
Yep. I'll
Okay,
talk to Joe Studding, and then I've got some other board members that I can talk to.
good, okay. Moving on, 7F, discussion on 120 water contract renewal. So it's like, it's what, a 3-year contract, it's up and, the new proposed amount, how much different was that from what our last contract with them was for?
We just had a 1-year contract with them.
Oh, we didn't, okay,
They're probably the 3-year contract,
okay,
just to lock in a price. But I
okay.
think initially we did a 1-year contract.
And was what, that amount,
I don't remember the first amount. We had just signed that contract right when I
I
started.
think it was pretty close to that. It was close to 7,000.
okay,
Completely honest, I'm not happy with their services. Essentially, they were just a data collection and a notification company. And then any edits that I had asked them to make, they never made them. So as I've been sifting through all of our unknown notifications, there's like 1,000 duplicates that I think each received a notification. So we paid for 1,000 duplicate notifications. And those were all edits I asked them to make. I don't think they had staff that were understanding of their system. I think these people were just. It's hard to not be nice about it, but I just don't think that they had people that were knowledgeable in their system. They just read from a sheet and they didn't know how to make edits on their own system. So now I'm going back through their database, reading our own, and I'm sifting through those unknowns. And then if there are ones that require verification, in a couple more months, I hope to have that list done, and then I can have guys going out and doing verifications on services.
okay, because they were part of the lead notification.
They were a lead copper database.
Yeah,
What are they, what is it for? Sorry.
So they did our LCRI, the requirements from the DNR and the EPA. They did all that data collection for us, and then they took care of notifications for people that had the potential for lead or galvanized requirement replacement. So we had to pay per notification, but they honestly just did data collection, which we did 90% of that data collection.
So they took our data that we gave them
So
and they didn't update the updates we gave them.
no.
And
Is
the
there a
template for
different
the
company?
notification just comes from the DNR. So they just put our name on it and we even had to
Yeah,
update that notification letter.
Yeah.
Specific to Eldridge for them to send it out.
So I mean, they
So,
pretty much just put their name on our work and said that
well, that's
they
nice.
did it. So they,
are we at that point, we don't need them anymore for,
if we wanted to use them one more time, it'd be strictly for notifications purposes because there are hundreds of addresses that need notification. After I get done with the list, I can compile the ones that are in need of notification. And if that's something where, let's say there's 400 of them that require notification, between the three of us in the department, probably Sadie, our next utility clerk, I think we could handle sending out 300 notifications.
When is our actual contract up with them? June?
Which is June 30, I think it's June 31st is July.
So is it
1st.
feasible to get that done before we do that?
I've been working on it for the last 2 weeks, just really crunching, trying to get everything out of their system into our Excel spreadsheet to see how many notifications we do actually need to
And
send.
is this
We'll
something
own
like
that
you can
too.
put these figures together and even go back on them and say like, hey, this wasn't done, these duplicates, these things,
Yeah,
and
because we just,
maybe even
Like
get
they
some
didn't fulfill
reimbursement
their
back.
contract, like,
that's the other annoying thing about
Yeah.
this, is like, we just had a video call with a 120 water representative. And I told him, I'm like, you guys have not fulfilled anything I've asked you to do. And he's like, well, I'm sorry to hear that. And then he asked me, like, do you want to lock in for a 3-year contract? I'm like, did you listen to anything I just said? You guys
Yeah.
did nothing on your end. So that was also off-putting, is that they're just salesmen.
Mhm.
That's,
Sure.
they just want the commission from us.
is there a different company that is better? Like, is there somebody else that does something similar?
I
Or do we need it?
I think we can handle
Okay.
lead and copper. I think,
I mean, once it's in there, then it's just adding any new homes, cause your old homes, unless they burned out, you know, like, they're here.
We won't have to do any of the new homes.
any of the lead,
But it always-
still by
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, it's still
The
there.
joints and things on the water mains will
we'll
be
keep
that.
adding new homes, but they'll instantly go into
Compliant.
Yeah.
non-lead.
Yeah.
Because everything now is either copper effects. So
Yeah.
it's like you add the new home for the sake of having the address, which I hate to say it, but it might be a thing in the future if these PFAS things keep up with, like, we're gonna replace
Yeah.
all plastic surfaces.
Mhm.
So we can just database all of that.
Yeah.
We'll keep adding new homes and we'll just list them as non-lead,
Right.
but.
Do you think it'd be easy though to figure out, I mean, obviously you're putting in some extra time on this and your department, and maybe even Sadie and Nevada too. I mean, not saying beat a dead horse and take time into this, but like, find the right person at this company and say that, like, we didn't have our contract sincerely fulfilled and,
That's,
you know, we put this many hours into this and our expenses.
I requested twice to have the person managing our account, I requested twice to get away from them. Because not knocking on old people, but she was older and I don't think she understood the technology. So then this new guy we have a new guy that's a manager of our account and he's the guy that asked me to lock in the 3-year agreement. So I don't think there's anybody that comes.
I would just start by saying that if you don't refund us for the double charges, then we're not even gonna reconsider a contract.
The duplicate thing was the most annoying.
Would you
because-
like us
Yeah.
to write a letter with suspense
It was-
on it?
A lot. That were
We're
Because,
familiar with that.
unnecessarily mailed.
and now.
Well, that would be
the
worse. I'm good at that.
They sent us a list of duplicates. So I'm like, hey, can you go through these duplicates and make sure that they are duplicates? And I had done that and sent it back to them. And then when I checked their database, they had never updated the list.
Or the date, so we had brand new condos that were getting notifications that they might have a lead service line. And it was
Should
a
never
problem.
had it, yeah.
Everything in Ivy
Yeah.
Acres got a notification, everything at the Fourth Avenue
We didn't.
condos got a notification.
That's not.
Everything in Mountain,
Yeah.
Fifth Street, South Fifth Street, South Second Street, everybody down there got notifications.
So a lot of unnecessary
Yes.
stuff. Okay.
So we got charged for probably over 1,000
How much is it? The
notifications.
notification?
I think it was like $4 per notification.
Give me the battle, I'll take that battle for you.
Yeah, let's,
No,
let's,
They were very annoying to work with.
I'm more confident and I think we can, our staff can handle finishing up the inventory for.
And if contract's good till June, and I mean, at some point in the next couple of meetings, if you feel that it's not something, then maybe we can rediscuss it.
yeah, I'm not interested in renewing if they can't do their
I
job.
personally am not interested in renewing either. So if I can get through this database and I can get into our Excel spreadsheet, which I had asked them if we terminate our contract, what would that look like? They'll send us their database in Excel format. So it's not like we're gonna lose everything that we sent to them. It would just get sent back to us.
Maybe ask them
We can
first.
go in, well, we can go in and download it. We have access to them, so we can go in, we own all of that now.
Okay.
But yeah, we can just go.
We can go in and get the latest one, which is
Export it.
probably still the first one we sent to them.
Okay, good.
That.
Yep, so I'll just keep working on that, and then I would say for now, we just plan on not re-signing with them.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah,
let that one go. Okay, 7G, discussion and consideration to approve a 3-year contract and renewal with, Altiver Power Systems on the generators that we have here. Everybody had a chance to look at the proposal, any questions?
Is that pretty common, everything that was done in this proposal? Also first,
Yes, I did not look at the original, I was not, like I say, I never looked at the original agreement that they had sent. I can go back and look at that if you guys want me to before we make a decision.
I looked at it, I mean, it's oil analysis, it's the fluid analysis, it's,
I just asked if those
Yeah.
were common, I mean, everything, they stop out and do it anyway, so I was just wondering how. If you see them go through everything and check everything.
Yeah, and the tech that we've had for these first 3 years, I think it's Chris Jones, he's been awesome, like,
Sure.
there's not a single thing that I haven't asked him to do that he hasn't done. And their response time's awesome, like every single one of the reports I've been sending you guys, the day after I request those, they've already compiled that and they send it out. So they're prompt, they're professional, their texts are prompt and professional. And the thing, yeah, if I've ever asked them to do extra work, they've come out and done it.
Yeah,
yeah, I looked at it, I thought it looked fairly reasonable, and their reports, they've got the database and the reports go back and, you know, comparisons and even like, say for instance, at the main plant, the water treatment plant, that, you know, you sent the last 5 years of reports, and that was helpful in looking at that. I know we're still, I think, waiting for a repair estimate on that, but, you know, that was helpful in, okay, well, the unit itself is okay, but the coolant is what's tested bad since 2019, and obviously we need to address that in the future, but I thought it looked very reasonable for the 3-year contract. Anybody else have anything on that? Motion to approve the maintenance contract for the generators?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Hamilton,
Second.
second by Gooding, all in favor say aye.
Hi.
Aye. Nays? Ayes have it. And any other department updates, Keegan? Yep.
All of the 2-inch meters that we ordered for Shared Meadows have been installed. So the invoice has been sent out for those, so hopefully we get that back promptly. On March 10th, I know we've been having issues with the HVAC, the controller, we lost control. We were locked out of it, so we were pretty much running on idle. And that's why we had to have the heater from waste up there for so long. We performed a factory reset under advisement from Innovent, who's the manufacturer of our HVAC system. It did give us back some of that control. Baker Group needed to rebuild that display that we had, the URL display, because the version that was on the original software was so old that we couldn't recover it. So they rebuilt that free of charge. TMI, they came out, our tankless water heater has been having this really annoying beep lately. I don't know if it was because when it initially got installed, it got plugged into a battery backup system, and I don't know if it was drawing enough power. So then we plugged it into its own outlet, and the beep went away for a little while, but it came back. And TMI had put their sticker on the water heater, and they wrote an install date on it. So I had been calling them for warranty maintenance, and every time I called them, they're like, "We never installed that." I'm like, "Well, your sticker's on it, and it says you did install it." So then they came out and were performing warranty maintenance on it, but it turned out that Peterson Plumbing was the one that actually installed it, but TMI put their sticker over top of it. So TMI come out and they replaced the PCB board, which was the reason why it was beeping. So then after we discovered that Peterson should have been doing the warranty maintenance, TMI wanted to recover some cost for their plumbers coming out to do some of that. We negotiated a price. And then, so now a new PCB board's been ordered. Peterson's gonna come out and replace it, and then we're gonna get that PCB board back to TMI. So that was the.
You gotta
debacle.
change that sticker out too?
Yes.
Why'd they put the sticker? Did you, I mean,
Well,
why are we doing that?
that's what I told him, like, I was like, you guys put your sticker on there. The plumber even wrote his name on it, and as soon as I said the guy's name, they're like, "Yeah, he works here." And so I was like, "You guys were the ones that put your maintenance sticker on here. You wrote an install date, and you guys have been performing the warranty maintenance." So it's like, it's not, I can't control that you guys did that.
They should have caught it in their record.
Right.
Why recover any damages from that was on that?
That's what I
Yeah.
argued for, but he wanted to recover, it was like $150.
Probably not worth fighting over that, yeah.
Right, and it was basically just to cover the cost of the plumbers that responded to the call. So the PCB board, I think is, I wanna say it's like $500 or $600, something like that. So they're just gonna eat that cost. But yeah, that was the deal with the tankless water heater.
Okay.
So back to the HVAC. I had asked Innovent to see if we could update the aero controller that's inside of that unit to get more control of the set points, because right now there's only 2 set points that we can write. It's the, like, basically the temperature we can change, and then there's like 1 dampener setting that we can change. So we basically only have like 10% control of that entire unit. So it basically seems like we would have to get a brand new controller that had read write for all of the set points. For now, it just doesn't make sense to do that because we have control of the temperature in there right now. But with them working with climate engineers, we're gonna see if we can get control through the manual, like the handheld manual. So we're just gonna keep working on that, but it might be something in the future where we want to get more control of that HVAC system to control more of that environment. Because we do need that air in there to turn over.
Sure, and so the economizer part of that's probably not working then.
Right, so right now, the economizer's stuck on 100%
Yeah.
and it's not taking in any outside air.
Mhm.
So if we have to figure out how we can change those dampening settings to be able to control the amount of outside air, the amount of return air. So we can actually exhaust and get fresh air.
Mhm.
Because otherwise that environment just becomes twice as corrosive as it already is.
Sure.
ISG had requested that we did filter effluent testing. So it's the test ports on the bottom of each filter bed to understand what kind of water is coming out of each individual filter. The test ports on those filter beds were original from 1977. So as soon as we turned one, they just snapped off. So we just took it upon ourselves to go through and replace all 8 test ports. So we got all those test ports replaced. We started the testing regimen that ISG requested of us. We would have started this like 3 months ago, but there was one of our chem keys for total ammonia was on back order. We just got them last week, so we just started that testing regimen. And then we'll get that data to ISG so we can better understand the kind of water that's coming through our system rather than just relying on old data.
Sure.
I had talked to Colin, when I originally started here, each department did their own locates. Electric guys actually ended up taking over locates. But locates are a really great way for operators to learn the system really quickly. So I asked Colin if they were fine with us taking back some of the water locates. So we took back water locates. The guys have been out doing a ton of them now that it's springtime. Every single contractor is sending out hundreds of locates. So now it's gonna be easier for guys to go get a better understanding of valves and systems and being able to do those locates. So just another maintenance thing that's gonna help our guys get better at understanding the system. And then on March 20th, I sent the guys up to Ankeny for trenching and shoring training. I asked them how it went and they said it was pretty much like a scared straight class where they just told a bunch of horror stories. And they really tried to drive home that using trench protection is like absolutely required.
Mhm.
And then they had instances of, I guess there was a story of a guy that got buried because he's a third-party contractor. He got buried, but he lived. So then they sued the city and the city awarded him like $19 million or something like that. So it's kind of like one of those things too, where we just need to require it. So the city is also not liable for that.
Now, did they get certificates of competency then as a?
Yeah, so now
Trench,
they're competent,
competent work in the trench.
competent operators.
Yeah.
So, and they got CEUs for also going to our classes, so they're credits towards their certifications. Otherwise, smooth sailing.
I see, proposal here, I guess we got a rental quote on the generator. Yeah, I think we talked about this as a backup for the main plant. If there was an event that required it, that the main unit had failed. I guess 2 questions come to mind is, if you had to call and have this delivered, what would be the response time?
That was not a question I asked. I can
Okay,
definitely ask it, because that's something that we should know is.
yep, the response, because I know Greco, I think they'll guarantee like 4 or 6 hours if we needed them, so.
I would ask if you have the ability to pick it up too. I know I've picked up and dropped off
Yeah.
up there, and $500 for delivery and $500 for pickups, a little high for a 2-hour round trip. A pedal hook can pull within that 450.
I was like, we got the trucks.
Mhm.
You said a Ford could pull that?
I pulled it.
Alright, well, you let me know. You let me know if you need a GMC that's there.
That definitely.
Do they have them in Davenport or Cedar Rapids?
Cedar Rapids is where they,
I
I've always known they store them.
can also ask that too, if they've got some down
I
here.
was just curious.
And then the second question I had is, do we have provisions if we had to supplement in a rental unit at the transfer switch, is there a plug? Or would we need to have something installed?
That's one of the things that Chris Jones, our tech from All Torfer, when I had mentioned that this was something that we were looking into, he started walking around the plant to see where there would be an access to that transfer switch, because it's in the northwest corner of the plant. He started asking if we'd be willing to punch holes in the wall for like a exhaust vent, essentially, that could be used for a transfer switch. Otherwise, I think he said that they could just run like 200-foot cords, go through our bay door, and then get back into that power room.
Okay,
So it might be something where we look
disconnect and
into
then reconnect.
putting in like a temporary panel, or would it be a permanent panel, but something that would give outside access in the event that they need to get into that power room.
Okay,
So
So right now you don't have it.
right now, we do not have like quick access to that. If they could park it right in front, like right in the front lawn, right where the transformer is, they could get quick access to it through that bay door.
That you gotta leave the door open, right?
Yeah, I guess we shut it as much as we could.
then
It's
you'd
like a
have
single lot.
exposed cables and such, and that's, I just wanna make sure that you had a safe way to be able to connect and disconnect, you know, the old one and a new, and a supplement
Yeah.
if needed, and if we need to get another contractor out there to make that provision, you know, is that something we need to look at?
Yeah, cause that's, if we could put a hole in the wall from outside to that power room. And then we could just park a generator right there on the driveway, and it would be 10 feet of access that they would need.
And then just a little service door on either side, yeah, I've seen that done,
I think that'd be the better way.
yeah.
Safer all around.
Okay, well, I appreciate you getting the
Yeah.
quote here,
Yeah.
and I just wanna make sure that we're thinking about contingencies, you know, because we have a unit that's, we know that needs repairs, we just don't know what yet,
Right.
so.
Yeah, I'll keep working with them.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's a dollar.
So is that something we can do if we make those access into that, or is that something we wanna get just a quote on?
At this point,
Or do we wanna wait until we hear back from
yeah,
what
let's,
we need to do?
let's hear back from that, and then I'll try to stop by and take a look at it myself, and then maybe we can discuss it, and if there's any suggestions I might be able to offer, we can look at maybe other options, if there is any. That might be the best option.
Consider.
Okay, anything else, Keegan?
That's all I got for you.
All right, right here, motion to adjourn,
Thanks, Keegan.
Motion.
motion by Patovich,
Second, maybe.
second by Peterson, all in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Aye, the nays, ayes have it, we are adjourned.
I think we gotta sign something.
Oh, yeah, yeah.